Very good morning. Good morning. I can feel the positive energy in this room. So I'm hoping you've got some time to rest, some quality time with your family members and loved ones. Yes? No? I hear you. We blinked and the summer was over, right? But I promise we'll make up for it next year. Today is actually a historic moment for all of us. In June 1967, Cal State LA went from S to Q, semesters to the quarter system. It is indeed my honor to welcome you to the very first semester after almost 5 decades. It has not been easy. In fact, I'm going to say it was a very challenging journey. This past year, every member of the Cal State LA family has toiled tirelessly. I have personally seen so many faculty members, staff, administrators experience the entire spectrum of emotions. I've seen them frustrated. I have seen them rushed for time. In fact, busy and pressed for time became the norm. But I also observed, in all these emotions, in all these efforts, they all emanated from a source of hope, a strong belief that Cal State LA is on the path of progress. We have indeed pushed boundaries, and we are ready to seize the future, right? Please accept my heartfelt and deep thanks for all your hard work and your continued dedication for the welfare and progress of our students. I'm going to request and I'm going to ask a favor of you. Please give yourselves a thundering applause. Indeed, thundering. Every family member brings a lot of happiness, and they also contribute to the welfare and the progress of its family. This year, we welcome to the Cal State LA family 52 new faculty members with joy and open arms. That's huge. A big thank you to CETL. They've put together a lovely video introducing our faculty members and showcasing their achievements and rich experiences. Let's take a look. Enjoy. Thank you to our new colleagues. A big warm hug to each one of you and a warm welcome from all of us. Welcome to the Cal State LA family. Will the new faculty please rise? Thank you. New faculty, you're joining an accomplished group of faculty members who have dedicated their time and worked endlessly for scholarship, teaching, and learning, for providing invaluable service to our university, the LA community, and across the globe. But above all, they're very dedicated to our students' education and welfare. You're joining exceptional lecturers. You will have the opportunity to work with our staff members who, no matter how busy they always are eager to help with a smile on their face. We have the best leader. Come on, come on. We have the best leader in President Covino, a leader with a heart and vision to transform Cal State LA and an unflinching commitment to community engagement and the public good. But above all, this Monday, August 22nd, you will have the opportunity to meet our most treasured family members, our students. They are not the traditional students, and that is their strength. Many of them have full-time jobs. Many of them have so many responsibilities. But all of them will come to class, smiles on their face, admiration in their eyes, and eager to learn. The motivation they give us is unparalleled. Be rest assured, new faculty, a wonderful journey lies ahead of you. And together, we can make sure Cal State LA continues to progress, and we provide a transformative education to our students. Thank you, and welcome again.
Please welcome to the stage the chair of the Outstanding Professor Award Committee, Professor Alan Bloom. Professor Bloom will present the Outstanding Professor, Outstanding Lecturer, and the President's Distinguished Professor Awards.
Thank you. Good morning. I am pleased and honored to be here today to recognize and celebrate our most outstanding colleagues. But first, for the benefit of our new faculty and our guests, here's a little background about these awards. The Academic Senate established the Outstanding Professor Awards program in 1963, and recipients of the Outstanding Professor, Outstanding Lecturer, and President's Distinguished Professor Awards are selected by a faculty committee, assisted by the Alumni Association and associated students. Now, according to the faculty handbook, while these awards are primarily made for excellence in teaching, significant achievements are expected in scholarly inquiry or creativity, in professional activities, and in service to the campus and community. Each and every one of our awardees exemplifies these ideals. We had a very impressive pool of nominees, and the committee had to make some very difficult choices. But I gotta tell you, it's one of my favorite jobs is to be on this committee. I'd like to take a moment and recognize the other members of our committee. Manuel Aguilar, Department of Art. Joan Altschuler, School of Social Work. Choi Chatterjee, Department of History. Ramani Durvasula, Department of Psychology, and Maria Bago, Alumni Relations. Please, they deserve a round of applause. Continuing our tradition, started by 2014 Chair Elaine Draper, we have created individual documentaries so that you can hear about the awardees in their own words. I hope you enjoy meeting them as much as I did. I will be joined on stage by President Covino, Provost Mahoney, and Veena Prabhu to present the awards after each documentary. We will start with our 4 outstanding professors. Our first outstanding professor is Oscar Bernal from the Department of Physics and Astronomy.
I grew up in Bogota, Colombia. I used to like to take things apart. Even at something like 12 years old, I would claim that I could fix radios. My neighbors would give me their radios and I would just take them apart and hit them or something. They work sometimes, sometimes they don't work. I always wanted to understand why they did work or why they didn't work. So many of them lost their radios. When I started to go to school as a physics student, I didn't quite understand what I was doing until I started to realize how challenging it was. I wanted to take on the challenge. I never looked back. I wanted to continue my education. My main goal was to become a PhD student and go to academia. That was the reason I came to Cal State. They took me in and they helped me a lot. Bill Taylor was my professor. Well, I did research with him. I realized physics of materials would be something interesting to me. My specialty is nuclear magnetic resonance of materials. So we study mostly magnetism and superconductivity of new materials developed by collaborators around the world. We use magnetic resonance to basically take a picture of the inside of the material and find out what the nuclei in the material are seeing around them. And that will give us an idea of what the electronic environment is doing. And so we kind of interview the nuclei to understand what the electrons are doing. My very first student, he was 17 when he started with me because he was an hipster. And he was amazing. I mean, the programs he wrote, we still use them today. That was back in '98. I've had so many students over the years. When students ask a question, it allows me to realize how they're thinking. And that is, helps me to respond, not just that question, but to try to figure out how I best can orient them in the direction that they would make some progress. As colleagues, we all help each other as much as possible, and we support each other in what we do. This last year, we got a partnership for research and education, and we had our partner is Penn State. I'm the director of that program. So this summer, we have 2 graduate students, 3 undergraduate students at Penn State. This is our first year, so we're going to be doing this for about 5 years. I wish I could stay home all day. You know? I still think at night about the different problems that are in my head, and I still dream of ways to solve them. So when that happens, I wake up and I'm thinking that I have to go to work and do that. That I have to go and try it.
Our second outstanding professor is Meredith Greenberg from the Department of Music, Theater, and Dance.
I think we had a really normal childhood. We grew up outside of Philadelphia. When we came out here, it was a lot of, Dad trying to show us everything that was going on that we would never have seen. We would play hide and seek with my dad. He wasn't playing, but we would play, and he would he would send people to try to find us. And the favorite space to hide was under Johnny Carson's desk, because he was in the next studio. I had a job delivering scripts for the new Gidget, and then summer job at Wheel of Fortune, answering the phones and opening up Vanna White's fan mail. That was fun. The Greenberg Family Foundation was formed. We raised millions of dollars for services and organizations. And I think there's sort of a legacy of humanitarianism. And we did it as a family. And I really want to make sure that my kids have that there's a way to pass that down. I was going to be a musical theater performer. I went to Emerson College. I couldn't dance and I really wasn't an actor. And then I realized I talked too much. And after a while, it was clear that I needed to find something else to do. And the faculty at Emerson said, go and stage manage. So I did, and I loved it. I arrived in Los Angeles in '91, and there was a review of a show by a theater called Deaf West Theater Company. It was their first show. I had studied sign language in college, so I called them. And I said, look, I see your review. You must need a stage manager at some point. And they said, we have a review. They hired me for their next show, and I was with them for 7 years. I started stage managing because what I loved to do was to facilitate the actors and the directors, and I get to be there to help them put what they see on stage. And the same thing with teaching. I get to take what the students are gleaning from all their different classes and let them put it into practice in the theater. That's, I think, the best part of it. My expectations are extremely high because our students deserve for the bar to be set extremely high. I teach them that rehearsal is change and unmanaged change is chaos. And you can't come back from chaos. So your job is to manage the change. I work primarily for the LA Opera and the LA Phil at the Bowl. And then I do various theatrical productions around town. I'm a mom, and that's like full-time also. I produce and sometimes direct benefit shows. And it just seemed natural to move into directing. And Urinetown was put on the table, and I had never read it. I had never seen it. I had never heard the music from it. And I, of course, said, sure, why not? Because that's what I do. And it was the perfect show for our students. We had a really old piano on wheels, and we would roll the piano out in front of Confucius. And they started rehearsing outside, and people kind of gathered. And we decided to do a number in the dining hall. And one of our students in a big bunny suit and handing out flyers, and it was great. Our students are so much fun to work with. I have a student came to me and started stage managing, and she's now one of my assistants at the Bowl this summer. So Cal State LA can be really surprising, but you start to feel like you're part of what's going on campus. I have a vested interest in where the students are going to go and what they're going to do. We always say there's always crying in theater. We just hope it's not the stage manager on like the first day.
Our third outstanding professor is Mark Tufengian from the Department of Civil Engineering.
So I was born and raised in Fresno. We had a farm, family farm. With the farm, you're relying on something that comes from the earth. So I became a civil engineer, then I became a geotechnical engineer, which deals with the soil. It's come full circle, and I didn't realize it, that I belong with the soil and dealing with the soil. I'm a product of the CSU. I majored in civil engineering there at Fresno State, so I came down south, went to school, master's degree at UCLA. Then I stayed on for a PhD. My PhD thesis was about earth retaining structures in a seismic area. And I tell my students, no matter where you live, you're no more than 10 or 15 miles from an active or potentially active fault. So earthquake-resistant design is something that becomes extremely important, and it's something that we teach. In terms of seismic resistance, a good example is the administration building and the dampers that they put on it. After I got my PhD, I went to work for 4.5 years. I was done with academics. And so I was working for several geotechnical companies in Southern California on big infrastructure projects. You're involved very early on during the planning stage, and then usually through design, and then you actually get to see construction. So there's a lot of satisfaction seeing something that you were a part of built. I was fortunate to work on several large projects. A couple of them were the Getty Center, the East Side Reservoir, which was 2 earthen dams, the Alameda Corridor. I worked on the Staples Center, which I tell my students all the time. They get a big kick out of that. And a lot of these projects are kind of once-in-a-career type projects. Those are the big projects. And I tell my students that you're fortunate to live in a big, large metropolitan area. You'll have the opportunity to work on huge projects. You know, it really takes a lot of pride and joy of seeing landmark projects because you know they're going to be there for 40, 50, 60 years. And they'll stand the test of time. And I've been fortunate in my career to work on some fairly large infrastructure projects. But I always was teaching on the side, first at UCLA and then at Cal State LA. The students, they keep you on your toes, they keep you fresh, always challenging you. As they mature and as their knowledge and skills grow in the field and you work with them and mentor them, so I give them opportunities to work on my research. I do a lot of laboratory work and field work. So a lot of it's hands-on. A lot of times we can pay them stipends, try to write papers with them so they get to expand their horizons a little bit, get opportunities to travel to conferences and things like that. The most rewarding part is when a student comes back and they say, oh, Professor Convocation, I took your foundation engineering class, and what we're doing at work is exactly what you taught us, and you know, thank you very much for that. And that gives me a lot of satisfaction. But I know a lot of students, because of their circumstance with their families they're helping raise or they have to get a job, it's very difficult. So I admire them for having that persistence. And they just need opportunity sometime to really shine. And so that's what's, I think, most attractive about Cal State LA.
Our fourth outstanding professor is Angela Vergara from the Department of History.
So I grew up in Santiago. I always wanted to study history since the age of 6. I started reading biographies when I was 6 or 7. I come from an academic family. So my dad is a philosophy professor, but then the military coup happened. So my dad lost his grant, and then he was fired from the university in Chile. Parents were all involved in politics. My mom, during dictatorship, she worked for a long time for the human rights organization, the Catholic Church. My dad worked mostly in NGOs because he was not allowed to work in the university. The late 80s, when I was in high school, were very active in a sense. That was the plebiscite, the end of dictatorship, and it was a fun time in some ways. Could go out and go to demonstrations and stuff like that. Mostly in high school, I got very involved with Amnesty International. Then I entered college in 1990. You work very early on into research. So I've been working at the archives since my first year of college. And then I came as an international student to UCSD to do Latin American history because I wanted mostly like a more broader perspective. I studied mining and I studied labor for my PhD project, and then it became my first book. Mostly because mining is very central to the identity of Chile. Copper workers play a very important role. They were very prominent in the struggle for democracy. And I was fascinated by that. I went to the mines by myself, went down the mine, they showed me everything, and they create these isolated camps, like far away from cities, in the middle of the desert. My first job was to work in the basement of the National Library in Chile with a big cat and organizing documents. And I thought that would be the rest of my life. So I never thought that I would be in a classroom. I like teaching. But I do think that I can spark a curiosity. And that's what I think is my role, an understanding of the diversity of the people. Yeah, and I think our State LA students like that. They're always very receptive. But what I like about Cal State LA is that it's an urban university. And I like the students, they all come from different places in the city as well. But I love it. I walk from the transit station to King Hall. I get a coffee on the way. I love the mural on campus, the mosaic. That's my favorite part on campus. and this packed of people trying to get to classes, and you try to get into King Hall, into the staircase, and it's like pack of people. And I love it. I love that the campus is crowded. I'm someone who's always in a rush because I have two kids, I drop them at school, then I get to campus. My students say I talk really fast, but I like that, and somehow the campus gives me that energy. I love the students on campus. I want to empower them. I want to get those voices. I want them to tell their stories. I want them to feel confident that they can do whatever they want in their life.
Our outstanding lecturer this year is Cameron Afare from the Department of Communication Studies.
I was born in 1957, so my earliest memories are from early 1960s in Iran, living in the city of Tehran. And by the way, I am from a Jewish Iranian family. There was a country that was in major changes going on. My parents were both quite secular, and my mother and my dad both were, had very strong feelings that they were helping Iran become modernized and industrialized. And then, of course, the revolution happened in Iran, and then moved to California, to Pomona. I was working for a radio station doing radio documentaries for Pacifica Radio. Fridays, I did the newscast. On Wednesday mornings, I had a half-hour show called Beneath the Surface. I was always very interested in social movements, in civil rights movements in particular, labor struggles, race issues, ethnicities, immigration. So those were the kind of stories that I always focused on. And I had also taught a couple of classes at Cal State in the Department of Latin American Studies. The course was called Latin American Radio Documentary Production. I was a graduate student at Cal State LA in the Department of Communication Studies, and that got me into a PhD program in performance studies and at Northwestern in Chicago, and then I came back. I've taught about something like 25 different courses in the department across the board in rhetoric, in argumentation, performance. I love working with students, see what it is they're interested in. So I'm there to help them make sure that they see the next step. I love working in my department in particular, the Communication Studies department. I teach a number of classes in rhetoric, classical rhetoric, contemporary rhetoric. I taught a couple of classes on food and communication. I taught another class where I actually made the topic ADHD. I had another class that I taught my book on the aftermath of the LA riots. I had no idea that this class was going to be so amazing. I didn't realize that my students would just have all this wealth of material. Those are the kind of exciting things that happen. It's funny, as soon as I crossed that threshold from the hallway to the classroom, something shifts, and and I feel much more comfortable once I'm inside the classroom. And to me, it's been a big part of my life, because I was, first came to Cal State LA in the early 80s to teach that Latin American Studies documentary production, and then back in the 90s as a graduate student, and back in the 2000s as a lecturer, so almost 30 years of my life. It's a big part of my life.
And finally, the President's Distinguished Professor. In order to be eligible for this award, faculty must have already received the Outstanding Professor Award and distinguished themselves further since that time. This year, the President's Distinguished Professor is Jose Cruz Gonzalez from the Department of Music, Theater, and Dance.
We grew up as farm workers. The fields were our daycare. We grew up in the fields, working along with our parents and grandparents. I think storytelling was planted in me by my grandmother and grandfather because they loved to tell stories and what they call chistes, little jokes. I think that's one of the things that I just love as an artist today is I love to listen to people's stories. Stories that nobody ever got to tell outside that community. And when I became an artist, I wanted to try to tell those stories. My brothers and my family ended up raising enough money to buy me a camera, so I decided to shoot my grandfather working in the fields. I never was involved in theater until I got to college. So I was really a late bloomer. And in a way I see that with our students oftentimes. Many of our students in the arts are coming late to that art form. And so I can completely relate with, the journey that they've taken or taking. Music has played an important role for me in just in the rhythm of language and the way words are formed and constructed and shaped and delivered. I started mariachi long before I started playing it. It was in the household, in records. Growing up, my mom would be cleaning on weekends or something, and I'd hear this music. 5 or 6 years ago, Cal State LA offered a mariachi class. So I took it. I got to be a student again. And it changed my relationship with the students in that class. These kids are so talented. We just connected and we bonded, and they now call me profe, and I just love it. I came to South Coast Repertory on a National Endowment for the Arts Directing Fellowship. One of the things that I got excited about at South Coast was new play development, new stories. One of the things we had proposed to the NEA was some sort of cultural festival to develop plays by Latino playwrights writing in English for the American theater. So that was 1985-1986 season. And we received 109 plays from Latino writers across the United States. We brought 10 of those writers out to South Coast that first year. And the Hispanic Playwrights Project was born. When I had the opportunity at Cal State LA, it just seemed like such a wonderful way to repeat that, but do it in a different way for students. The John Lyon New Play Festival was started in 1997, a place where our students could, once they'd written a play, to give them space to hear their play and perform in front of an audience. We've premiered 70 plays, and this has given our undergraduates and graduate students a year-long development process with professional directors, with our student actors, with dramaturgs, faculty, designers, and guest artists, culminating into a 2-week performance there on the campus of Cal State LA. I've met some amazing people through the journey of writing and telling story. I write for both adults as well as for young people. I've got great help. My wife is a school teacher, so she's up at about 5. So by 5:15, the coffee's ready. I pour myself a cup of coffee and I go into my study to work. And for the amount of time I have, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours, I'll work and then I'll go and teach. And in a way, I've sort of fed myself artistically, so that when I come to Cal State LA, I'm there for the student. I love teaching. I love our students, and they've made me a better teacher. They have something to give to this community, to this state, and to this country. And they have stories to tell. This is a Yamaha that my grandmother bought for me on layaway. So she went to La Penny, which is JC's Penny, La Penny. She got this for me, and so it's named after her. My grandmother was named Trinidad, but I call her Trini. Yeah, she's speaking to me. She's telling me another story. She's so beautiful.
it's been a too short, too hot, and too busy summer. And I would like to thank some folks for their help in making the documentaries. First, to the faculty awardees, who basically welcomed me into their homes and their lives and put up with all of my requests. To last year's committee chair, Kaveri Subramaniam, whose speech I very heavily borrowed. To Aaron Bloom, my intrepid production assistant. To Matt Gatlin, my collaborator and creative partner, for his terrific editing. To Jean and Rhonda in the Senate office. To Emilio Flores, our university photographer. To Maria Magulski, our showrunner, and to all the wonderful Luckman and staff and crew. And finally, former Dean Peter McAllister, Dean Rennie Shefflin, and Provost Lynn Mahoney for their support. Please join me again in recognizing our outstanding professors. We certainly have some amazing colleagues. Thank you.
Three years ago, we set out on a bold mission to build on Cal State LA's legacy as the premier public comprehensive university in the heart of Los Angeles. Let's take a look back at those 3 years and all that we've achieved together. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the president of Cal State LA, Bill Covino.
Well, good morning. Good morning. That was terrific, wasn't it? Yeah. Welcome everyone to the fall 2016 semester. You know, I come from a generation that didn't go back to school until Jerry Lewis sang "You'll Never Walk Alone" on the telethon, you know, the Labor Day telethon, and so it was a shift as the clock kept moving backwards into August, and here we are. Many thanks to the hundreds of people who helped to make this moment a reality, hundreds and hundreds of people, and we'll have a chance to thank them all as I continue to recognize some folks. But we're honored today to welcome all of you, and also to have members of our Alumni Association Board and Emeriti faculty joining us today. So, Alumni Board members, Emeriti faculty, could you stand and have us welcome you? We need some lights. Okay. Could you see them in the dark? For those that are within reach of my voice, we need the lights to go up when we ask people to stand. That would be a good thing. Kayla Stamps is the newly elected, overwhelmingly elected, student body president of Cal State LA. I'm delighted to have her and her leadership team join us this semester. Kayla, would you please stand and have us welcome you? We are looking forward to a great year working with our new student government. Now, I look over the past 3 years with a profound sense of gratitude. I think that just sums it all up for me. We've accomplished a great deal together. And today, we see a new university emerging. A university that's moving forward, fueled by our collective energy. So we open this semester with a great deal of enthusiasm, but also during a particularly turbulent time for our nation. Recent national and international events underscore the critical role that universities play in a democracy. The students we greet next week are tomorrow's leaders, thinkers, builders. So we must continue to sharpen every element of the university to fulfill our responsibility to them and to the future that they will create. With that aim in mind, today, we're taking a look back to celebrate the distance we've traveled in just 3 years together, and we're planning for the years ahead. At our fall convocation 3 years ago, we were just beginning to launch the conversion from quarters to semesters. And now, here we are, right? Moving from the quarter calendar to the semester calendar was, as you know, as you felt, an enormous undertaking, a collective enterprise that involved every division of the university. Faculty and staff worked hard to create a new university catalog. Thousands of courses were recreated, invented for semester conversion. So thank you to the faculty and department chairs for all the heavy lifting needed to ensure students have the courses they need to graduate and succeed. Thanks to our academic advisors who spent thousands of hours helping students navigate the changing landscape through the IAP, the Individualized Advising Plan, and answering questions and allaying concerns. To the staff of the registrar's office who converted the records, keyed in the curriculum, to the staff of ITS for carrying out the final work on conversion, while also dealing with the aftermath of a surprise overnight flood that forced them out of their offices in the basement of the library. And thank you to the semester conversion leadership team, Rennie Shefflin, Parviz Partanavid, Richard Valenzuela, Catherine Chim, for your day-to-day attention, your support, your cheerleading during this extraordinary undertaking. Many of the changes we've put in place over the past 3 years benefited from the stalwart leadership in our colleges and our offices of undergraduate and graduate studies, where folks were guiding curricular revisions, developing new funding opportunities, recruiting new faculty. So many thanks to our deans, Emily Allen, Jim Goodrich, Scott Bowman, Cheryl Ney, Ron Vogel, Eric Bullard, Trin Pham, Michelle Hawley, Karen Elliott Brown. And thank you, of course, to the folks who propped up the deans, the associate deans, and the department chairs for your leadership and for your forbearance. And we must take a moment to welcome our new deans, Carlos Rodriguez, the Dean of the University Library, and Pamela Scott Johnson, the Dean of the College of Natural and Social Sciences. Where are you folks? There we go. As was evident in the awards ceremony, in the videos, in everything that we know, our faculty are among the best anywhere, distinguished by their research, their scholarship, their dedication to student success. In 2015-16, this past year, our faculty secured more than $32 million in grants and contracts, published articles and books that changed the face of their disciplines, gave conference presentations that activated important intellectual dialogue, created artworks and performances that enriched our lives. Adding new faculty means adding to these achievements and to the success of our students. During the 2013-14 academic year, a while back, we hired just 9 new faculty members. But as you saw in the video, that number has increased every year since then. This year we welcome, as you know, 52, they're right out there, 52 new faculty colleagues. And there are more to come. Okay, just wait. Wait till I give you a number someday, and then you can decide how hard to applaud. Through the efforts of this fine faculty, Cal State LA has, as we know, earned great academic distinction. Our nursing program is ranked among the best in the nation. Our new downtown campus is introducing Cal State LA to a new audience of students. LA Biospace, our bioscience incubator, is bringing together students, faculty, and entrepreneurs who are driving innovation. Knowing that increasing support for these programs, for our academic programs, is crucial. There could not be anything more crucial. I want to especially appreciate and applaud the staff of University Advancement under the leadership of Vice President Janet Dial for their superb work in increasing alumni engagement and securing philanthropic gifts. Thanks to the outstanding work of the directors of development, including Denise Gutierrez, Greg Lair, Haley Morris, Stephanie Pell, and Dolores Ibarra, fundraising at Cal State LA has reached an all-time record. Outstanding support from the stewardship team led by Maria Migalski and including James Kresma and Hannah Bowen has also increased the visibility of our donors and their support of Cal State LA. Our alumni relations team, led by Maria Ubago, also had an outstanding year with events at City Hall that drew more than 250 alumni, a reunion celebrating and inducting the class of 1965 and earlier classes into a half-century club. That's a celebration we're going to continue this year and in years to come. These activities and the outstanding work of the entire Advancement Division have led to another record year. In 2015-16, the year just passed, as of June 30th, our total in gifts and commitments reached more than $14 million, nearly triple the amount that we raised back in 2013-14. And the number of donors to Cal State LA has increased by 1,000. This is a terrific accomplishment. So let me dwell for a moment, an important moment, on the drive, the courage, the dedication, the passion, and the compassion that our Cal State LA staff devotes to this campus every day. This year's recipient of the Outstanding Staff Award is defined by all these virtues: kind and caring. She's helped foster a sense of community in her department and among neighboring departments. She's helped anchor a supportive community that helps students thrive. She is the pride of sociology, Rosie Rodriguez. We see those same virtues, the virtues we see in Rosie, in the staff and faculty recipients of our 2016 Distinguished Women Awards. Susan Bergstrom from the College of Business and Economics, Gabriela Fried Amelivia from the Department of Sociology, Yahaira Garcia, Financial Aid, Francis Hidalgo, College of Engineering, Computer Science and Technology, Yara Jimenez from Upward Bound, Rebecca Joseph from the Division of Curriculum and Development, Betty Kennedy from Housing Services, Daphne Liu from the Department of Mathematics, Tammy Nguyen from Financial Aid, Sheila Price from the Department of Philosophy, Elena Retzer from Modern Languages and Literatures, Romelia Salinas from the University Library. Any of you folks who are here today are distinguished women. Could you please stand and let us recognize you? They're scattered around. Thank you. And we've gathered a number of new staff members since last year and are very happy to welcome them all to Cal State LA. For any of our staff members who have joined us since last October, so think back, if you joined us after October, we didn't get to congratulate you last time. So any staff members who joined us since last October, please stand. Let us welcome you. Thank you. I want to focus for a minute on the staff of Facilities Services. The Facilities Services staff works hard every day to fulfill its mission of providing a safe, clean, inviting, and engaging campus that supports the mission of the university. So thank you to Dana Tweedle and the entire facilities team, and a special thank you to the facilities winners of this year's Champion Awards: Alvaro Lopez, Juanita Rodriguez, Veronica Wong, Danita Towler, Manny Free, Rennie Serafin, Richard Valenzuela, Victor Pacheco, Mario Limas, Ed Ormelis, Ovita Diaz. Faculty champions, those of you here today, facilities champions. Faculty champions, we got you. But facilities champions who are here today, could you please stand and let us welcome them? All right, they're scattered around. Speaking of facilities, let me add that, based on the persistent, effective, arguments that verged on annoying by Vice President Lisa, and this is a good thing when they get that annoying, Vice President Lisa Chavez and her team. We are receiving this year an allocation of more than $35 million from the Chancellor's office to upgrade our facilities infrastructure. And that comes to us along with an allocation for the renovation of the Physical Sciences building. Yes, the renovation of the Physical Sciences building that will commence this year. So in addition to the Physical Sciences renovation, we're going to have infrastructure improvements that'll include a new electrical distribution system, a new chiller. Those of you who experience the warmer days will welcome the new chiller to stabilize the air conditioning throughout our facility. Improvements in our telecommunications, fiber optic cable, water main, and piping replacements, out with the old pipes and in with the new, and the stabilization of emergency power. So a number of new projects that you'll see initiated this year that will improve the infrastructure and give our facilities a facelift in a number of ways. As the premier public comprehensive university in the heart of Los Angeles, you have to be able to say that by memory now, the premier public comprehensive university in the heart of Los Angeles. We have a unique relationship with the city. We carry its name. We've incorporated the skyline into the new brand. And we also mirror the city's dynamic mix of people and its promise. More and more students are choosing Cal State LA, pushing our enrollment to record levels. Last year, 61,776 students applied for admission to Cal State LA. 61,776. This year, we've made great progress in our drive to ensure that our student body reflects the city that we serve. The number of Latino students remains strong. Our population of Asian American students is growing. And there's particular success in the growth of our Black student population, with a nearly 31% increase in the number of Black freshmen admitted and a 20% increase in Black transfer students. This is a really significant surge, and we're very pleased. This was made possible by a cross-section of staff, faculty, and students working together. So thank you, Marjani Chidinma, Francisco Cornelio, Christina Choi, Nadia Mendoza, Jacqueline Mendiata, Hiram Chanel, Jennifer Celaya Davis, Christopher Johnson, Professor Melina Abdullah, Professor Amina Abdul-Jabbar, Becky Hopkins, Danielle Green, Martha Contreras, Steve Wilson, Joshua Malden, Liliana Flores Saenz, and students Cecily Lewis, Alicia Miles, and members of the Black Student Union. Thank you very much for helping. Students who are enrolling at Cal State LA for the first time will experience a different and more welcoming atmosphere than students of just a few years ago. We've improved the orientation, advising, and welcome week programs so students feel supported, and so they know without a doubt that they've made the right decision in coming to Cal State LA. Today, freshmen participate in an interactive, dynamic orientation program, meet individually with their advisors, register for classes, work with campus services. These changes and more are possible because of the leadership of Vice President Nancy Wada McKee and the collective efforts of the staffs of new student and parent programs, admissions and recruitment, financial aid, cashiers, parking, career center, it takes a lot of people, Center for Student Involvement, the cross-cultural centers, the Office for Students with Disabilities, our Educational Opportunity Program, our Veterans Resource Center, our academic advisors, and our directors of student success and advising. So it certainly is a widespread dedication to making the future of all of our students a bright one, and their experience here and our experience here a better one. So I'm very grateful for all of the folks in all of those offices for all that they do. On the playing fields and in the classroom, our student athletes are achieving great things. Following the 2015-16 academic year, 16 student athletes earned California Collegiate Athletic Association All Academic Awards, and many other students were also honored for their athletic and academic achievements. So we want to give our congratulations to all of them and to take special note of our NCAA 400-meter hurdle champion, Khalifa Rosser, who shattered records, set new ones, all the while carrying the Golden Eagle name to new heights. Khalifa, you're out here somewhere. Where could you stand? There you go. We're looking forward to more successes ahead. Now, as we grow and excel, our systems and processes must be equipped to sustain our vision and our ambitions. This year, Academic Affairs set out to award and disperse as many scholarships as possible before the start of the semester. What a concept, right? Getting the scholarships dispersed before the start of the fall semester. It's terrific. We need that timeliness in order to recruit and support highly qualified students, to give them timely help in planning and paying for the new semester. And I'm pleased to say that we have already awarded more than $870,000 in scholarships to our students. So thank you to everyone who has supported this effort, which will continue to improve and I think make the lives of our students better and better and better. We've made major improvements to enrollment services designed to strengthen our business processes and leverage technology in ways that make life better for our students. Admissions, financial aid, scholarship selection, transfer credit evaluation, and advisor-approved changes will run more smoothly. So for all of this, thank you, Tom Enders, for your work on the scholarship process and improvements using Academic Works, and Vice Provost for Planning and Budget, Amy Bippus, for your work to ensure a healthy schedule of classes for students. This fall, we will also be initiating use of a new budget model that will be more transparent and clear. I've been wanting this for a while, and it's shaping up quite nicely, and I want to hear from you about how you think it's going as we roll it out. But thank you to members of the task force, particularly the faculty and staff who worked on this endeavor: Troy Allen, Daniel Frankel, Peter McAllister, Veena Prabhu, John Cheng, Nancy Warder-Perez, and Janet Yupp, all working together to get, I think, a budget model that we will very much appreciate. Our university directors and their staffs play an important role in improving student life, student learning, and student services. So thank you to Catherine Harris, Mark Pavlicek, Taffany Lim, Christopher Cobb, Tammy Nguyen, Vince Lopez, Jim Bursick, Jason Shizugo, Susan McAvoy, and Marcia Marotta. These directors and their offices do good things for us every day in important ways. Our growing prominence has brought us opportunities and challenges. Like so many universities, we've wrestled with the issue of parking. Yes, thank you. I did want to pause a beat to see if anyone would anticipate the word. So thanks to Carmen Gachupin, Rick Wall, and Peter Hong for creating and implementing our parking action plan. We've created as I hope you know by now, because we're flooding the social media waves with the news, an off-site parking lot, a new off-site parking lot with ample space, really hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of spaces. Featuring a new free shuttle, we're offering off-site parking permits for $50 a semester. And if you're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and you've seen our emoji-filled campaign promoting the off-site lot, biking, ride-sharing, carpooling to get to campus. So Communications and Public Affairs is spreading the word far and wide. Please help us spread the word so that everyone is aware of all the options that we have available. As the video indicated, our Mind Matters initiative has made tremendous progress toward providing more campus services and resources that enhance student well-being. We've added new counselors who have helped reduce the wait time for students in need of service. We've increased the diversity of our counseling staff. Our psychological counselor, Maritza Negro, now stars in a series of short videos available on the homepage and the Mind Matters page that teach at YouTube, that teach students how to manage stress and negotiate common emotional problems. Debbie Cavino's first Inner Well-Being podcast will soon be available on our mobile app. As part of our Therapy Dogs program, Debbie and I enjoyed walking around campus with Thomas, the mini dachshund, during finals week. He was a character, he really was. He jumped right on tables where students were working and looked at them. And that all provided some comfort and good humor during a stressful time. Mind Matters has also associated with the Women's Heart Alliance and the Clinton Health Foundation. We hosted 3 successful heart health screenings, providing students with free blood tests and medical advice. The Surgeon General of the United States, Vivek Murthy, kicked off these events last fall. He was wonderful and very generous during his interactions with our students and campus community. Most recently, we've drawn a national attention with our Pokemon Go health walk. Now, look, I don't know anything about Pokemon. But I do know that Vice President Jose Gomez has amassed a bushel full of Pokemon points. And he knows where all of them are on campus, so he will be the administration's lead advisor. Back to Mind Matters. Thank you for all of this that I think has enriched that program and for helping to shape a caring campus community that complements the work all of you do to show our students how much we value them. Big team working on all of these efforts: Debbie Cavino, Nancy Wada-McKee, Robert Lopez, Stephanie Pell, Paris Silva, Maritza Negro, Marissa Marcarello, Vina Prabhu, Colleen Friend, Taffany Lim, Danny Molina, our alumna Lauren Jacobson, and our new student members Ella Baxter and Eric Cuevas. Also, on behalf of student well-being, our Conduct, Assessment, Response, and Evaluation, or CARE team, remains a vital resource for our university community. We're fortunate to have a dedicated and skilled team of professionals who take charge when faculty, staff, and peers identify students who need help. As more people have become aware of the CARE team and what it does, the usage, as you might imagine, has increased. Last year, CARE team managed nearly 300 student cases. And in that connection, we appreciate the team's work. Leticia Gomez, Jen Miller, Rick Wall, Raul Lopez, Larry Bohannon, Araceli Vargas, Monica Jazabi, Jonna Fries, Neil Ortego, Carol Roberts-Korb, Sam Prater, and Gonzalo Centino, all working on behalf of our students. Over the last 3 years, we have also reduced our carbon footprint, and we've strengthened our commitment to the principles of sustainability. Last year, we brought on Brad Heidel, who is serving wonderfully as our energy and sustainability manager. In November of 2015, last November, Cal State LA joined more than 200 US colleges and universities in signing the White House American Campuses Act on Climate pledge. With our signing, we agreed to accelerate the transition to low energy carbon while enhancing sustainable and resilient practices on our campus. We've made good on that promise with practices we've implemented and continue to develop, from zero emissions lawnmowers to a 31% reduction in water use, to the introduction of zip cars and hydrogen vehicles that can be loaned to faculty and staff. Yes, that's right. This summer, we received a Silver Star from STARS, S-T-A-R-S, the Sustainability Tracking, Assessment, and Rating System. Our award-winning hydrogen research and fueling facilities, of course, continues to play a critical role in this enterprise and our move to increase zero emissions vehicles. Since opening the Center for Engagement Service and the Public Good, our students, faculty, and staff have spent thousands of hours serving in communities across the region. We're tutoring, coaching, feeding the homeless, designing and building community gardens, providing assistance to battered women. And on the education front, on the elementary and secondary education front, through the Go East LA program, we're encouraging students as young as 5 years old to begin thinking about college. And we know anecdotally the many ways that these hours of service benefit Los Angeles. And a new program will allow us to pair those anecdotes with data. All right, so today, we're launching I Serve LA, the Make It Count program. Through a new website, students, faculty, and staff will be able to log in and track their community service hours. To log and track, right? So they can write them down. At the end of the year, you'll know the total number of hours you served. We'll all know the total number of service hours the university collectively provided the region. You'll hear more about the program and the reasons we all should participate in an upcoming email. I encourage each of you to look for the new website, to look forward to logging in your information and to making the great service hours we contribute here count. So we have seen how much we can accomplish. Everything I've talked about, the video represents, and more in 3 years. Our greater visibility, support, determination, and success has led Cal State LA to become a household word. I really think so, throughout greater Los Angeles. That achievement would not be possible without the stellar team at Communications and Public Affairs. From fall 2013 forward, with the benefit of Vice President Jose Gomez's oversight, we've assembled a team that is the envy of other universities. Our brand and our achievements are featured across news, information, and social media every day. You know, this summer, the 2 quietest months in higher education, right, June and July, we had over 150 articles and stories and notices of our achievements about Cal State LA published around the country in those at that slow period. So there's a lot happening during the year and a lot of visibility that we're gaining and a lot of ways in which we're talking about all that you're doing to make this a great university. Our webpage has become a model for others to imitate, including the CSU Chancellor's Office. They're actually borrowing some approaches. They know a good thing when they see one. And our reputation for excellence is indeed, a national phenomenon, as demonstrated, for instance, by our surge in the US News and World Report rankings. We rose higher and faster than any other California State University by leaps and bounds, really. And all of this is not possible without the hard work and dedication and moment-to-moment attention of our communications and public affairs staff. So thanks for the transformational work of Jose Gomez, Robert Lopez, Jocelyn Stewart, Emilio Flores, Kate Keeley, Carolyn Lee, Margie Lowe, Erwin Medina, Neri Orellana, Alcy Villoria, and Corey Grabo. They're doing great work and they will continue. It's just terrific. As we look forward now to the future, we do so today with a clear sense of purpose and direction. Our new strategic plan is a roadmap for Cal State LA, created by Cal State LA. We received input, live input, face-to-face input, and some surveys, but lots of face-to-face input from more than 2,500 members of our university community. Our strategic planning coordinating committee included faculty, staff, students, administrative representatives. Their goal was to gather all this input and help us articulate a vision for Cal State LA's future and create a framework to make that vision a reality. Provost Lynn Mahoney provided leadership for the strategic planning process and worked closely with our strategic planning coordinating committee over the months. Please thank me as I name the members of the, please join me in thanking the members of the committee as I name them, after I name them. Just wait a minute. Amy Bippus, Scott Bowman, Eric Bullard, Marjani Chidinma, Edmund Jacobian, Michelle Hawley, Lynn Mahoney, Gustavo Menendez, Holly Menzies, Vina Prabhu, Mark Pavlicek, Peter Kwan, Romelia Salinas, Mike Soldatenko, Jimmy Solis, Kayla Thomas, Ron Vogel, Nancy Warder-Perez, Michael Willard, Walter Zellman. Any of you who are here, stand up. You've done a lot of hard work there. And we had just a terrific consultant team from Blue Beyond, who many of you met during the forums and the focus groups and such. Cheryl Fields Tyler and the team who conducted 4 open campus town halls, 20 workshops, and even more than that, worked closely with SPCC to synthesize a wealth of information and ideas. Are there some Blue Beyond folks with us today? Yes? Thank you. This fall, the provost will assemble 6 groups to work with the campus community on implementation of the strategic plan priorities. There will be groups on engagement, service, and the public good, on becoming an inclusive campus, on graduation 2025, moving toward our goals for that year, on student life, on academic distinction, and on becoming a great place to work. These groups will be working from the document that you'll all be taking with you today. Before I let you go to take it with you, though, let's take a look at our strategic plan. Our mission: Cal State LA transforms lives and fosters thriving communities across greater Los Angeles. We cultivate and amplify our students' unique talents, diverse life experiences, and intellect through engaged teaching, learning, scholarship, research, and public service that support their overall success, well-being, and the greater good. Our vision: Cal State LA will be internationally recognized as the premier comprehensive public university in greater Los Angeles. We are dedicated to delivering cutting-edge academic programs that prepare students to be innovative leaders in both their professional and civic lives, and to serving the public good through initiatives that engage local, regional, and global communities in mutually beneficial partnerships. Our values: students first. We put our students' academic success, career readiness, and well-being at the center of everything we do. Engagement, service, and the public good. We foster meaningful, collaborative relationships that contribute to the public good among the university community, alumni, and local, regional, and global communities. Pushing boundaries. We set ambitious goals to challenge and inspire us, benefiting our role as LA's premier comprehensive public university. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. We cultivate diversity, expect cultural competence, and actively seek perspectives and engagement from all constituents in our community to develop just and equitable expectations. Student engagement. We encourage our students to take ownership of their own campus experiences by seeking opportunities that promote inclusion, a sense of belonging, and leadership. Engaged teaching and learning. We cultivate and amplify our students' unique talents, diverse life experiences, and intellect through engaged teaching, learning, scholarship, research, and vibrant student life. Academic distinction. We foster and promote academic distinction through innovation, academic rigor, and the pursuit of lifelong learning. A community of scholars. We foster a community of scholars among faculty and students engaged in research, scholarship, and creative accomplishments. A culture of excellence. We encourage and expect all members of the university community to pursue academic, professional, and personal excellence. Transparent, collaborative decision-making. We make data-informed, evidence-based decisions and are collaborative and transparent in our approach and communication. Mutual respect. We are committed to cultivating a supportive and accepting environment where each of us commits to fostering a culture of respect for all. Academic freedom. We're for it. We promote academic freedom and professional ethics, period. So, there we have the mission, vision, and values, and as we commence today with those in mind, I'm reminded of a remark by our poet laureate, Juan Felipe Herrera, who said, quote, "Yes, I am the first Latino poet laureate in the United States, but I'm also here for everyone and from everyone. My voice is made by everyone's voices," unquote. It is our great privilege to be here at Cal State LA, as it is made and remade by everyone's voices, as each of us becomes different and better, made and remade by the voices we study, the voices we challenge, the voices we love, and the voice that we own. Thank you all for bringing us to this new beginning. Here's to a great year and to the years ahead.